good reasons why the Rolex Fastnet Race is held in such high regard. Not only can it be brutal, exhausting, and in some cases worse, it's also a race where success can be whipped out from under you quicker than you can name the rock. And the 2025 race was a perfect example. From those who saw victories slip through their fingers in the closing stages of the race, to those who watched it taken from them after the finishing line had been crossed and the celebrations had started. The Rolex Fastnet Race can be a brutal race, on and off the water. And this year, it was certainly that. But it was also a superb race. The biggest offshore race in the world was celebrating its 100th year with its biggest ever entry. Plus, it had the added draw of the return of the Admiral's Cup. So, this is how the Rolex Fastnet Race and the Admiral's Cup played out. When you look at some of the top performing machines and their goals for the Fastnet Race, there was one thing that they didn't have to think too much about: catering. Because the speed that a 32-metre foiling trimaran goes around the track means that you could cater for the entire 6-person crew with a corner shop meal deal. SVR Lazartigue was a great example. Skippered by Tom Leperche with Frank Camas and Peter Burling among the crew, the dark blue tri might have been chasing the Mod 70 Argo to start with, but once they're out in the channel, they took off and were first around the rock at 3:20 the following afternoon. And despite being chased hard by Banque Populaire, Lazartigue held their lead to the finish in Cherbourg to complete the course in 1 day and 17 hours. In fact, all 4 giant tries had finished by just gone 9 AM on Monday morning.
This year it was it was longer, 1 night more, but the competition was really great. We were 4 ultime boats, so Debo, Actual, and Banque Populaire and us. So before the start, we know that it will be a race important for us this year to know each other and to sail together. And it was lighter than 2023. The start, the picture of start are a bit different, but so more strategic and tactic this year.
I think once we went around the rock and there wasn't a big change in the wind, there's always a chance it's going to shut down for a little bit. And but the tricky part was definitely going out towards land ends with massive shifts.
In fact, with Banque Populaire at the beginning, we take a good decision to go to the shore, to go to close to the England coast. And so we managed to cross on starboard with the northwest wind in front of them, and we take a small advantage at this time. And after we managed to stay in front, but
and for us it was lost in Line Bay. We made a bad tactical call going offshore, and never really managed to get back from that, and stuck with that same loss all the way to the finish pretty much.
It was difficult because for the long. Coming back from Fastnet to Scilly, the wind was better for them, stronger at the back, so they came back, they reduced the gap.
I mean, they're incredible boats. They're going, he went over 40 knots several times, and we basically averaged 35 knots on the rock back to Cherbourg. So yes, I mean, they're going quick, and when you get on the helm, I mean, they're pretty incredible experience, just hooking them in on the foils and getting the whole boat out of the water and flying. And then the flip side of it is that a lot of grinding, winding and turning a lot of handles, trying to get the boat locked in. I mean, the foils are heavy, bring them up and down takes 5 minutes each, so a tack you're looking at 15 minutes of grinding non-stop. So the 10 tacks up to the Fastnet rock was basically non-stop. Then you go around the rock and you're sorting out your foils, getting a new head sail up, unwinding a new head sail. There's a lot of grinding.
Yeah, on the way back, we're probably in the early 30s most of the downwind, and then high 30s, close to 40 for a lot of the reach from the Scillies back to here. So yeah, really cool to stretch the legs a little bit, and it was nice to not have too many manoeuvres on the way back as well. It takes a lot of work to do a manoeuvre on these boats. So I think we're all pretty tired now, but yeah, it was an awesome race.
Perhaps even more impressive was that the two MOD 70s, Argo and Zulu, who are 30 foot shorter than the old team tries, finished 20 minutes apart on Monday afternoon after a 700-mile match race. When it came to the big guns in the monohull fleet, Raymond Voss's Blackjack 100 took line honours after a needle match with Scallywag.
For us, what was the most important was to be very close to them by the time we are at Fastnet Rock, because we know that we are potentially a bit faster under certain conditions downwind, which were the conditions we encountered at the start of the downwind, in stronger air, more breeze. We can sail a little bit lower. But we didn't expect such a soft finish, and in this case they can also be quite fast, and that has been more challenging than we thought to stay in the lead. Yeah.
But it was just two that won the IRC's Super Zero class on corrected time, adding another victory to a season that had already delivered a win in the transatlantic race a few weeks earlier.
Yeah, but I think we are very happy to, if you want to win a race overall, you first got to win your class. We won our class. It was quite a challenge. These Volvo boats do really well in strong wind. We had a lot of light patches, in between almost no wind. So we struggled on Sunday quite a bit to get going towards the rock, and didn't look so good. Eventually we made it, and we had some decent wind. So it was a race with lots of challenges, but that's why you come. That's why it's the Fastnet. So we're happy with the result though.
The Imoca fleet is another that is closely watched, and this year one of those that was attracting attention was 29-year-old Elodie Bonafou, sailing with Jan Elise aboard a brand new 60-footer. New, complex boats like these usually take a while to shake down, but as they led Jeremy Bayou in Chiral and the entire fleet across the finish in Cherbourg, it looked like her team was well on its way. Because that was about it for big boats delivering big results. Because when it came to the overall winners on handicap under IRC, there were two features that stood out. All three on the podium were sailed double-handed, and all three were French. The overall winners on corrected time were Jean-Pierre Kelbert and Alexis Loison in their JPK 1050 after just under 4 days of racing. Winning this event is a once-in-a-lifetime achievement, unless you're Loison, who did the same thing in 2013, sailing with his father to become the first ever double-handed winners of the race. Clearly, that was no fluke.
12 years ago, when we won with my father keeps the Rolex watch, and I say I will win my own Rolex. So 12 years after, it's okay for me. But very nice. The race was the same like 12 years ago. All strategy works, and we're pushing hard, very hard. When we are at the Fastnet Rock, we take the big spinnaker. We see all boats do little spinnaker. And after that, we have 3 knots better than the other boat, so we make a good choice at this moment. And after, yes, crazy to see family, friends, just before the finish line.
Because the boat is fast in every conditions. Upwind, downwind, light wind, strong wind, crosswind. It's just amazing. So Jacques designed something really fantastic. We cross a new step, and he can develop this kind of shape for different size now. And happy to win with Alexis, because it's a very nice guy with very high talent on board. He is the boss, and I do what I can to follow him, help him. Even if I already do some transatlantic alone, etc., I am also a good sailor. But he's more exigent all the time, push, and so you can't have two guys deciding on board. So I tell him, no problem. I just do what you want to do, me to do, and everything will be fine for me.
In 2017, Didier Gadot had also won the race. But this time around, he said before the start that for him and his crew, Erwan Tabali, this race was just for fun and the result didn't matter so much. Really? The pair came in second overall, just 19 minutes behind. And in third, it was Akil Nebu and Tanguy Bourelec aboard their Pogo RC. Impressive stuff. The top fully crewed boat in the overall IRC rankings was Peter Harrison's Carkeet 40 Jolt 6. This crew had delivered a solid performance all the way round, and while they had plenty of talent on board, it was interesting that among the crew was offshore expert Will Harris. Having cut his teeth in the Figaro world before going on to race around the world, he knows a thing or two about racing small boats in the English Channel with little or no sleep.
We were really heads down in the race the whole way. First of all, the first thing I want to say is congrats to the team. I mean, the job Will did as a navigator, just perfect the whole way. And it was tough. It was really exhausting. Everyone was really, really tired. You could see it in their eyes. I mean, we were all just making sure to rest as much as possible and do the best race, the cleanest race we could do. And coming in with Callisto, we knew that, we lost them at one point. We could see on the tracker that they had managed to stretch. We managed to come back, and we knew that if we stayed close to them, it was going to work. So my emotions are just mixed. Right now it's just difficult to realize what we just achieved.
The results also highlighted how generally this was a year for the small boats. It was also a year not to be over the line at the start, but plenty did and would be regretting it later. Among them, Jerry Trentasso in Long Courier, who, although winning IRC 1 even with a 2-hour time penalty, missed out on a second place in the overall IRC standings. But when it comes to disappointment, nothing comes close to the body blows suffered by the crew of the Swan 53 Bedouin, who were disqualified after being protested by the Fast 65 Celeste of Solent following a port and starboard incident. Lisa Goddard's largely family crew had delivered a very impressive performance in a highly competitive fleet to win IRC 1 and was celebrating a job well done. But in the evening, a protest went in, and the following morning after the hearing, they were disqualified. Meanwhile, the other big focus was the Admiral's Cup. With triple points at stake for the Fastnet, there was a great deal riding on this race. And while the final scoreboard suggested that the 700-mile race had been straightforward, the reality was that it had been anything but. Instead, the live leaderboard had been full of surprises, especially in the closing 100 miles to the finish. In the big boat class, it might have been Black Pearl leading on the water with Jolt 3 and Beaugest just behind, but when it came to corrected times, it was Roost van Uden that took the top spot. This was a very impressive achievement for a team that's committed to developing a platform for young offshore sailors. Run by the Royal Maas Yacht Club in Rotterdam and skippered and coached by Gert-Jan Poortman, they'd proved a point. The elegant Tison 48 Alida, owned by Daniel Baum, finished second. This was her big moment too. But when it came to the overall class scores, it was clear to see how much the Fastnet had shaken things up. The top 4 boats were separated by just 2 points from Jolt 3 on 40, Zen on 41 and the Wally Rocket de Django and Roost van Uden on 42 points. In AC Class 2, the battle had been a simpler affair, with Jolt 6 and the Kiwi entry Callisto finishing within 1 point of each other, but 12 points ahead of Beau Ideal. All of which meant that when it came to the Admiral's Cup itself, the coveted team trophy went to the Yacht Club de Monaco. In second, it was the Royal Hong Kong Yacht Club, with Yacht Club Costa Smeralda taking third place on the podium. In the build-up to the Admiral's Cup, there'd been much talk about who the top teams looked likely to be. And in the event, the popular chatter about Monaco and Hong Kong being potential top dogs was precisely how it played out. But success hadn't been without pressure. In what had been a predominantly light weather series, there had been plenty of opportunity to fall off the pace and out of the running. But irrespective of this, the one message that came across loud and clear was that there's certainly an appetite for team events in Grand Prix racing. And for some, 2 years is too long to wait.
A sustainable future. Yanmar.